Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Leon Yingzogo, and I am the founder of this Scholarship Insider channel. As the name suggests, I am an insider when it comes to winning scholarships. In my life, I have received 5 different scholarship offers, including a Chevening scholarship offer from the UK government. The latest one I received was a full scholarship offer from the University of Cambridge to study for a master's degree in conservation leadership. Hello, welcome back to my channel. This is part 2 of the 2-part video series in which I will offer advanced tips and strategies for FulBright Scholarship application. Today, I have invited Dr. Karen Park, who has an experience of reviewing FulBright Scholarship applications at the University of Pittsburg in the US. If you haven't seen the part 1 of this video series, I recommend you check it out first in the link in the description below and watch it first. Without watching it, I'm afraid you won't be able to understand the concepts that we are going to discuss in the video today. Well, many FulBright scholarship applicants only worry about what the scholarship committee would think of their applications. But they forgot the fact that when you apply for the scholarship and get shortlisted, then the scholarship committee still needs to forward your application to the universities that you put in the question 40 of the application form. These are your preferred universities that you would like to attend. You can win the scholarship if and only if those universities give you an admission offer. If the admission officer from the universities that you prefer, you fail in the question 40, doesn't think that you are qualified to study for a master's degree at their institution, then you can't win the FulBright scholarship without having a university to accept you as a student. Now that you know the process, you can get one step ahead beyond the scholarship committee and learn how admission officers from your preferred universities would think. This is an advanced trick that you can use in the application process to get ahead of your competitors. Well, I have a few questions that my followers and students want to ask to Dr. Karen Park. And Dr. Park is a professor at the University of Pittsburg in the US, and every year she has to review FulBright scholarship applicants from all over the world who put University of Pittsburg as their preferred institution in question 40 of the application form. Without further ado, let's hear her insights from the perspective of an admission officer from a US university where they have to decide whether to give admission or not to FulBright scholarship applicants. Hi Karen, thank you very much for joining me today. So when you are reviewing the postgraduate admissions for the University of Pittsburg in the US, every year you should receive hundreds, if not thousands of applications. And some of them could be FulBright applicants forwarded from the embassy itself, right? Since you have to review so many applications, on top of other academic duties that you have at your institution, like teaching, grading papers and grading assignments, and supervising students. So how much time do you usually get to review each one of them, like one application? How much time do you usually get?
Hi Leo, thank you. That's a good question. At the University of Pittsburgh, we're reviewing 2 different types of postgraduate applications, PhD applications and master's applications. And in the past, we have accepted several FulBright funded candidates. The time frame that we're looking at for applications on the master's level is itself a 2-step process. Our first review of applications, and it's true, we do receive hundreds of them, takes about 15 minutes. And through that process, we decide which applicants are going to be shortlisted for further review. Further review then takes approximately 30 minutes more. The whole process is carried out over a period of probably 3 months and involves several meetings with the subcommittee who then discuss the various applications and motivations for accepting or denying a particular candidate.
Oh, 15-30 minutes. So that's not a lot at all. In this case, you have to make a very quick impression after reading the application for the first time.
Yes, it's true.
So I'll show you a fast essay prompt for the FulBright application, and I will read it out to you. So write a clear and detailed description of your study objectives and give your reason for wanting to pursue them. Be specific about your major fee and your specialized interest within the fee. Describe the kind of program you expect to undertake and explain to your study plans how your study plan fits with your previous training and future objectives. This statement is an essential part of your application. Do not mention specific US universities at which you would like to study. So when you see this essay prompt, what is the most important thing that you look for in this kind of essay to differentiate a real D who can potentially win a scholarship and have a great future from someone, just another applicant who should go into the reject pool? Like, what would be the first big thing that you would look for in the 15 minutes that you have?
I would suggest 3 things as you approach a question like this. First, know that the question is setting out a map of what they want you to say. So in this question, they're asking for a couple of things. One, that you're specific about your major field of study and those interests within that field. And 2, that they really want your own personal study objectives and motivations for pursuing this. So as a reviewer, I'm going to be looking at both how well a candidate is responding to the question and answering what is asked of them, and also how detailed their personal motivations for this are. I want to see the human behind the application, and I want to see clear motivations for a particular line of study.
Let's move on to the second essay prompt. And again, I will read it out to you. This personal statement should be a narrative statement describing how you have achieved your current goals. It should not be a mere listing of facts. It should include information about your education, practical experience, special interests, and career plans. Describe any significant factors that have influenced your education or professional development. Comment on the number of years of practical experience you have already completed in the fee in which academic work will be done in the US.
So this question is asking for a more detailed background of how you got to where you are now and what is leading you to pursue this particular course of study. Again, I would advise applicants to carefully consider what the question is asking, and again, draw from your personal motivations and experience. Here in particular, it's looking at your past history and what you did to achieve your current goals. So it's giving the reviewers, the people who are making the decisions about acceptance to the FulBright program, insight in how well you'll be able to meet future goals. So really build up what accomplishments you've done in the past. Furthermore, it gives you an opportunity to speak more directly about what has both fueled your successes, but also experiences that may have limited your development to date. So if you have a period of time outside of scholarship or study, or if you have if there are things in your resume or there are things in your broader background that need more detailed explanation. For instance, say you took time out to raise a child, or you took time out to look after a family member who was facing poor health. This is a space where you can explain that as well. So not only provide a clear background of what it is about yourself that leads you to be successful in achieving your goals, but it also gives you space to provide a more direct explanation of your broader career trajectory to date.
I see. So you're recommending a writing framework that is called past, present, and future, in which your narrative connect these 3 things into a very logical structure.
That's very well put, absolutely. So it's clear to reviewers what it is that's made you successful in the past, help them see how that will make you productive working in the present with them, and where you intend this to lead you in the future.
Thank you very much for your insights for the essay questions. There is one more question about a serious issue, right? There is plagiarism. We all know about that. We all know that you can't copy and paste from other people's work in your scholarship essays. But my understanding is the universities use some sort of special software that shows you how much of the written work is copied from other sources. So do you use that on scholarship essays or application essays?
Again, most of my experience has been in graduate admissions. And in that process, we don't currently use plagiarism software to review applications. My past experience working on fellowship committees is far enough back, again, that we didn't really use plagiarism software. I don't know where the FulBright Committee stands on this.
Okay, in this case, can you tell if a person is copying and plagiarizing other people's work?
I will say that applications generally have multiple different parts that help feed into our understanding as to whether or not a student might be plagiarizing somebody else's work. For graduate admissions, we generally ask for not only personal statements, but also examples of previous writing, CVs, letters of recommendation. And each of these parts create a whole picture of who that candidate is. If we see a significant disconnect between the quality of a personal statement and a writing sample, or a further disconnect between writing samples and the broader recommender's assessment of a candidate, then that generally poses a red flag in terms of how honest the candidate is being in their application.
So that means an experienced reviewer can catch plagiarized work even without using any specialized software.
That's a big assumption, but in my experience, it has generally been clear when the various pieces of an application do not connect in a way that provides a clearer picture of who that candidate is. So generally, it has been pretty clear when a candidate may not be honest. And in those instances, at least in the graduate admissions process, we tend to request an interview with the candidate to further clarify where they stand.
Does the same apply to recommendation letters? Well, they don't copy and paste recommendation letters, but some students may write their own recommendation letters and ask someone else to sign it for them, or it could be their teachers or their managers at work. Like this kind of fake recommendations, do they ever work?
Never is a strong word, and so to be completely frank, I can't say that they never work. However, there are a lot of systems in place to ensure that letters of recommendation are as honest as they can be. Almost across the board nowadays, especially in, I'm seeing it both for fellowship applications and for graduate admissions. We use management software to request and organize letters of recommendation. These make it very difficult for a candidate to submit their own recommendation, but not impossible. Furthermore, many of us in the field are aware of the larger professional network of individuals who may be writing a recommendation on behalf of a candidate. Even if we haven't worked directly with a recommender, we will be aware of their professional background and relationship to a candidate. So information about who is submitting the recommendation also helps inform the accuracy of that recommendation. And lastly, I think, again, we always ask for more than one letter of recommendation, generally 2 to 3. And if those recommendations are too similar, it might be a hint that somebody is cheating the system. If those recommendations, you generally see some degree of variation in how a recommender is speaking about an applicant, both from their experience working with them and more broadly in their kind of sort of,
I see.
Yeah.
So in most cases, fake recommendations.
It's been a long time to say. It's difficult to fake a recommendation.
Okay, last but not least, I have one last question, and this is exclusively this year's phenomenon. Can you use ChatGPT to write application essays?
I guess you can. It won't give you a strong essay, and generally will lead to a failed application. Just out of curiosity, I tried it myself. ChatGPT may be useful as you're preparing an application to give you a broad idea of structure or some hints in terms of the defining characteristics of a particular field you may be interested in. However, it can't speak for your own personal background, motivations, or those larger features of an application essay that are what we're really looking for when we're making our decisions about whether to accept or reject a potential candidate. Again, what's most important in these essays is the sense of individual we get. Who are you? Why are you doing this? And where do you see it taking you in the future?
I see. So ChatGPT can only chunk out words of the words and vocabularies, but not really paint a personal narrative
Exactly.
of who you really are.
Exactly.
Okay. I think. Thank you very much for all your insights.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here.
Well, we hope you learned something new about the process of applying, not just FulBright Scholarship, but also about the process of postgraduate scholarship application in general. After all, FulBright is just one out of hundreds and thousands of scholarships available in the US. My personal belief is that there is always a scholarship somewhere for a diligent student. So, if you do a proper research to find out how many scholarships you can apply, approach the application process systematically and sensibly, learn from top scholars, and then get help from experts who can guide you through the process, you can realistically hope to win not just FulBright Scholarship, but also any scholarship in the world. If you enjoyed this video, please click like and subscribe so you won't miss out on my top tips on scholarship applications.